based on recent results. Now, BDS have played this map twice. They've won it once, they've drawn it once, and what team would they draw against? Of course, it's Chaos. They went on to win it. In fact, no, I lie. They beat Chaos. They drew against Temperate. It's the other way around. Whereas G2 have played it once and they won it. So it's a very far cry to say that they aren't comfortable coming into this. They beat Virtus Pro 7-4 for those that want to know. So I don't think G2 are stepping into this in the same way that BDS stepped into Theme Park not too long ago going, oh my God, it's that map we hate. We haven't prepped for it. Please help us. This could end up being a 2-0. It could absolutely go that way, but we've seen the BDS, when given the freedom on this map previously against both Temperate and Chaos, how much fun they have getting up against windows, getting up against doorways, and giving the attacking team an absolute impossibility in trying to even look for a plant. I'm excited to see how it plays out. BDS this time round, critically worth mentioning, banned away the Wamai. On the last map, they didn't do that, despite banning away Wamai every other game in the season so far.
It's interesting, you know, that you mentioned Consulate and the fact that maybe it's not a map that we've seen too often, but I don't think it's a map, like you say, that teams really avoid here. It's been in the map pool for a long time now, and any team that has been around competitive Siege for a while has played enough Consulate to know what they're doing. So I don't think there's much advantage to be gained there. Each team should know full well what to expect and what needs to be done here, and I'm sure that will be the case. And I want to see a really hard-fought match here. And if I'm honest, Des, I want to see this go to 3 maps. I just want to cast more and more of this game because I know that if it goes all the way to 3, I know just how tense and hard-fought that last map is going to be.
It would be phenomenal. Some fun stats for you about this map for BDS, actually. On attack, they have a 62.5% win rate. On defense, a 66.7%. And the thing that struck me the most about these guys is very commonly they'll have a very stable defense lineup. They'll tend to bring the same things. On Clubhouse in the last fixture against G2, it was always Maestro, it was always Bandit, it was always Oyo. On this map, there is a lot of variation. We've seen them run Oryx before, Vigil, Kaid, Clash, Echo, you name it. There's going to be all kinds of different things being thrown into the fore here, and I can't wait to see what different things they bring to the table.
And the thing is, that makes them difficult to play against because it makes them unpredictable. And that can be something that is tough to line up against because, as you say, you don't always know exactly what is going to get brought against you. You don't know exactly what is going to happen. And right now, we've got the Echo on the board from Renshiro. Extremely powerful operator. We know that. He can be very difficult to play against. It looks like, I think we're going to have a quick rehost. So you're going to come back to mine and Dez's faces. Here we are. So I think there was just a bit of a lag issue on the side of G2. So we'll just get that lobby remade and we'll be back with the game very, very quickly, I'm sure. And it just gives me and Dez a little time to have a little bit of a chat about the whole G2 BDS matchup and exactly what we're likely to see going forward. And for me, it's really important here, Des, that BDS come in and get a strong start on the defense. They do not want to fall behind here on console because then you start feeling like you're on that slippery slope. You're heading towards the cliff edge. And sometimes, even if you are strong on the attack, it can be very difficult to bring it back just because of the mental block.
The big fear for me is that G2 have only played this once, like I said, against Virtus Pro. They started on attack there. They won 5 of those 6 attacking rounds. So it's something to stick your nose up at. These boys are very good on this map, and I agree with you. This first half will tell you the full story, I think, especially that Consulate does have a tendency for attackers to do well on. Lots of windows, lots of externally faced sites. Gives you a lot of opportunity to make things happen from there. One thing I have got to mention, and given we've got such a wonderful break, is a wonderful, this talking about chat interaction, by the way, a wonderful comment that came out of chat not too long ago, and I did DM you about this, so I gave you the warning. Someone said that your head looks like a sodden Tic Tac.
I mean, what do you do with that, Des?
You know what I want to know? I would love to know. I forgot the name of the person who said it, by the way, so I apologize for not crediting you, but where does your head go to, 1, go tic-tac, and 2, to say, oh, it's quite sodden, actually? I've never seen a sodden tic-tac in my life.
I was just going to say, I don't think it's really possible, because I think that the majority sugar, so they would dissolve rather than become... They don't get soggy, do they? You know, they don't absorb water. So at what point does it become sodden? You know, it's just going to dissolve, if anything. I mean...
They're talking about sun cream, maybe. Just soak... You spent a lot of time in Brazil, let's not forget, just soaking that sun cream in, I don't know.
Honestly, I mean,
it's a bit of a stretch.
You see many things in the chat, we really do, and that's certainly got it. When you told me that one, that's certainly got to be up there with the best of them.
If ever you want casters to reference anything at a future point in time, the best time to do it is at the end of a game, because that's when they'll be jumping in there to see the end of it and how it ended and what chat was saying. There's a nice little note for you, no doubt, on that one. But let's talk about this a little bit more. We mentioned about the variation that we saw coming out of BDS on this map previously. They will bring along a lot of different operators, whether it's the Vigil, the Echo, the Kai, the Clash, like you name it. There is something in there for everyone to enjoy watching. On the side of G2, though, their focus instead comes into more things like playing around Vigil and Echo. Echo on this map especially comes in super popular, especially when you look towards those top floor sites.
Certainly does, and we know the power of Echo in general. Just having that last 20-30 seconds, he gets more powerful as he survives into the round, and really, really effective at the round end.
I've got to stop you there. The one thing I've said so many times throughout EUL, because I always remember you saying it in the EOC, was power spikes.
Power spike.
And I was like, everyone knows you've been playing a particular game. So I was a power spike on Echo, and I was like, there you go.
It's very true, though. Towards those last 30 seconds, Echo's power doubles, trebles, because he can just single-handedly deny a plant for so long and so effectively.
He can indeed. However, we have delayed enough effectively ourselves, apparently. We are back into round number 1 here on console at G2 BDS. In case you're just joining us, man, you missed one hell of a first map. G2 reminding everyone why they are regarded as one of the greatest, with a wonderful performance that BDS didn't really have too much of a response to. Consulate being BDS's map choice, though, we're expecting greater things.
So let's have a look at that lineup. Let's finish what I was saying just before that rehost. We've got the Echo on the board from Renshiro. Lem's out there on the Vigil. Now, that's going to be a particularly interesting point to watch out for. Can Lems bring that thunder in the early round? Can he pick up those early kills and just wipe off a couple of important operators for G2? As you've said, Des, very efficient, very effective on the attack here on Consulate so far from what we've seen from them. I'll be interested to see exactly how they play this one. Generally speaking, there is only one directional attack onto Garage. We don't see too much pressure coming onto the rear of Cafeteria, generally speaking. It tends to be all about getting that garage door open and getting control of Piano. Now, we've got BDS playing the man in bathroom for the time being. That is a very important location. Brede is in there. We need to see, for me, a little bit more out of Brede. He's had a huge stage 1 in the EUL, but we haven't really seen that from him on Theme Park to open things up. And wow, that is quick from G2 with that door already getting opened inside 35 seconds.
There isn't very much in the way of denial outside of the mute jammers, and I'm not sure they committed too many towards it, or they put 1 or 2 there, sorry, but Pengu being on this Twitch, going to do what Twitch does best and start zapping away those gadgets, whether they're default cameras or the mute jammers in the first place. As you say, that gets this wall open in rapid time. So now they've got it here. What they should be looking towards is control of Piano upstairs, so you haven't got any awkward angles being held by BDS from above to shoot you as you try to run in and go for the plant. And already there's some aggression coming in towards Renshiro, who's very happy to sit there and say, look, I got yokais. I ain't got to worry about taking these fights just yet, but he is being watched by Citizen's camera in the back of Cafe.
Yep, G2 are very well aware of his location. What a headshot from Virtue to open things up there just as Renshiro dips away. That is absolutely huge, taking the Echo off the board, and that really starts to open this round up for G2. The one thing that they need to do now is get that Piano room locked down. They need to get control over that and yellow stairs, and then they can get in, and the diffuser is in a position to be planted. Smoke's being burnt already, and things looking so far so good for G2, but there is still work to be done.
There's no focus really by the looks of it on taking Piano. They just want to try and go for a straight push in. I say that, and Uno has crept his way down the yellow stairs and is lurking near the top, but it's control inside the room itself that I'm most worried about. He sees him flash across, but loses the gunfight. That's massive coming out of the side of BDS, puts them into a 4 versus 4 quickly. Traded out by Citizen onto Shaiko, so we are into a 4 versus 3, and you've still got Brede holding upstairs. He must be able to catch Pengu here unless he has gone deep behind the white van, which I think he has. That plan's going to get stuck out. Even on Twitch, the man is a planting god. Citizen, a god in his own right. 3 kills flying out, and it's all down to Brede left by himself. Couldn't stop them pushing him through the breach. Makes this far too easy for them. This should be the first round going the way of G2, unless Brede can do what he did so well in the first few weeks. He's got to go all the way here, bring down both members, and this is an angle that is gross to try and contest. Almost getting there, not quite to be the case. Virtue picking up the final kill. G2 with an impressive round 1, given how one-dimensional it was, Ace.
Often labelled the hardest retake in all of Siege there, and you see exactly why. And that was without anybody even retiring outside and holding a long angle with an ACOG. Very, very tough to contest back onto. And really, to say that BDS had full piano control throughout that round, largely uncontested, Des, I don't think they really put it to enough use. As you say, they just couldn't find the planter, couldn't prevent Pengu activating that diffuser, getting it on the ground, and that was their undoing. Citizen going huge there, and that's not too much of a surprise. We know how renowned, if we think a long way back to when it was Citizen on Na'Vi, but before that, when it was M&M, we know how effective they were on Consulate. They were well known for it, and Citizen was a big part of that. He's always been good on this map, and showing exactly why they're coming in with a huge triple kill for G2, and showing that he is more than capable on Consulate at the very peak of the big leagues.
What I love is how it carried across not just to that team, and then they became Na'Vi, and then kind of started to adapt and bring in more things with them. But the team that replaced them under M&M Gaming and then became known as Crazy, who we saw compete in Challenger League, same story for them. Consulate lovers. It's a thing that seems to follow that organization around, is that people just love playing Consulate and playing it damn well when they're part of that roster. This round, I'm expecting to see some adaptation coming out of BDS. They knew in the last round that G2 absolutely terrorized them with those Twitch drones. Got to deal with them a bit earlier, or at the very least, prevent them from getting inside so freely in removing those mute jammers.
Production just blessing us with the replay of that Virtue headshot to open things up, taking Ranshiro off the board. And that was a pivotal moment for me, losing the echo there. And BDS must be scratching their heads at that one, because he showed his head for a fraction of a second. We're talking pixels there, and Virtue just showing the ability that he brings to this lineup. It was absolutely beautiful. That is definitely going to be one of the kills of the tournament. There is absolutely no question about it. And right now we can see that wall has been opened up extremely quickly. Once again, there's inside of 30 seconds. G2 showing a real mastery of being able to do that. Kanto, he's just holding himself down there by the breach. Not really too impactful in the last round. Didn't get in, didn't take those entry battles. This time, Citizen, who else gets in and absolutely wipes Lems off the map there. That's the vigil gone, and now we start to see some rear pressure mounting. And this is what I've been so impressed with when I've been watching G2 through stage one, is their ability to bring different plans to the table, different attacks, and a lot of variation, and we're seeing it once again.
Citizen making me weak at the knees with that one, man. So many times today he's doing shots like this that no one should be able to do. Yet they don't even see him, it feels like. There's a flash and suddenly you're dead and you're like, what the hell happened? Citizen happened is the biggest thing you've got to be concerned with there. I think with BDS, they're not even bothering to contest onto the garage door at this point, though. They're letting it get opened up. They aren't putting jammers all the way along it. They did have one on the drone hole just to prevent any intel being gathered in. However, Kanto did manage to sneak his way in regardless. And now they're in a spot where they can start assaulting through anyway. Maybe some electrification or some kind of strength towards trying to deny G2 would be the way to go, because right now you're making things a little bit too simple for them. That being said, they've abandoned the garage take, or they've only got one or two players still lurking there. The rest of them will move themselves out towards the east, trying to keep BDS on their toes and make sure they're constantly guessing of what G2 are bringing.
So this is what happens when you say we rarely see a cafeteria push. G2 decide, well, we're going to show you that. And they start to move from that east side. And Pengu gets himself a kill, but Shaiko will shut down Kanto Raketti, and that now leaves us in a 4 versus 3. G2 still have the advantage, but it's not going to be an easy push for them here. And the reason that cafeteria can be difficult to push into is that you are limited to pushing in through the doors. You have no option to get a breach. You have no option to get anything other than default angles, but Virtue, that's all he needs as he shuts down one, shuts down two. That is a double on the round for him. And him and Citizen right now are having a field day here on Consulate. Virtue for a third on the round, shuts down Shaiko, and G2 will take round 2, and they find themselves now 2-0 on the scoreboard, and they are looking hot, not just here on Consulate, but here in the EU Major.
Virtue there just basically saying to them, your site? No. Our site. Milos will be proud somewhere of that, I'm sure. But the number of kills he found from being sat behind the bomb chassis as an attacker, mind you, was unbelievable. Lots of work to be done there for BDS to even try and find a way back in. And G2, they're making this look easy. 2 rounds in, barely a flicker of competition coming out of the side of BDS. They've really got to start warming into things here. And I think they've got the right call here. Let's change sites. Let's try and mix it up, because clearly we can't answer either of the attacks coming out of G2.
heading up to the top floor, as you say, to try and mix things up. And I think that is going to be important because you can't keep banging your head, can't keep banging your head against the wall, should I say. And right now, BDS, they just feel like they're on a slippery slope, Des. There is very little they seem to be able to do. It doesn't matter where the push comes from. G2 are just willing to take the fights, and they are playing with so much confidence right now.
Screechdrum are basically saying, look, I see him play it all the time on his stream, then clearly he's going to absolutely rock it, as he has done so far, Screech. So you are absolutely correct. Love the drum kit in the picture, by the way. But it's a point, right? Pengu, sorry, has been having a ton of fun running around on this Twitch so far, and it's not really a role that we get to see him play on. That being said, back in round one, he was the one placing the diffuser. He wasn't the one sat outside in the thermite being cautious and getting walls open. No, give him one of the best guns in the game and say go nuts.
And go nuts he will, ultimately. We can see that he's 1-1 at the minute, but you just know that there are more kills to come from him. But how about Virtue? Look at him down there. Between him and Citizen, 9-1 so far across 2 rounds. It is absolutely huge, Des. It is unprecedented at this point, the start that G2 are finding themselves here on Consulate. But this has got to be scary for all the other teams. Virtus Pro right now are sat there waiting to play G2. They've already got themselves into the next round, but would anybody want to face up against this G2 squad at the moment? I know I wouldn't.
No doubt a lot of prep coming into this as well. They've had a good think about what they're coming up against in the form of BDS. What made them so strong at the start of the season? What do we need to answer to bring against them here? And clearly uncertainty is the way to go. You mentioned about Clubhouse earlier on that often it was BDS playing for the retakes. G2 were the ones that were just beelining it in towards site, and that's where their focus came from. Well, here it's kind of the same story. However, G2 are the ones also completely eviscerating the side of BDS on the way into the site. They're not bothering about the roamers. They're saying, if you want to roam, you guys do that. Brede, you want to hold inside a piano? No problem, my friend. You get cozy up there and play a few tunes for us. We're going to focus instead on getting the diffuser down, and so far it has been working wonders. So the entire onus now falls onto BDS to be the innovators, the ones that have got to change how they're approaching this game, because heaven knows this could turn out to be a very quick and comfortable 2-0 for G2.
It really could, and you know, obviously history is exactly that. It's what's gone before, and it isn't necessarily always a means to predict the future. But right now, G2 just looking so solid inside of this best of 3 format against BDS, and that is exactly what we have seen previously from them. And if we look back to the past, the last time that we saw G2 playing Consulate against Virtus Pro Week 9 EUL Stage 1, Virtue and Citizen, is it any surprise that they were the top 2 on the leaderboard? 21 kills between the two of them, Des. +7 overall. They were phenomenal then, and they are phenomenal now. And Citizen absolutely removes the head of LMs once again. Huge opener there. Pengu gets involved in the action. 5 versus 3. 40 seconds left to go, and this is going to be difficult for BDS to absorb the pressure that is about to come their way.
It's so difficult as well, because in that spot, double peeking back out as a lem, probably not the most ideal thing to do, knowing full well that Citizen is going to be pre-firing the spot should your head reappear. You need to hit that first shot headshot, otherwise that gunfight is lost, and Citizen more than happy to collect that free kill. Here goes Pengu trying to go for a plant, pull back off it though, as his team had a chance to get into a bit of an altercation, find themselves yet another kill. It's a 5 versus 2. There we go. The Maestro shut down. The pace from G2 is electric. There is no opposition from the other side, but Diffuser's down. Cold Renshiro downstairs. Can they still plant this or not? Doesn't have a C4, so they've got to deny it. However, the kill comes in as Uno had recovered the Diffuser. Citizen stepping up big in the closing moments. Otherwise, that was victory snatched away from them cruelly, and BDS taking a round. But G2 3-0.
G2 using every second that was available to them there, just getting that plant animation going, freezing the clock effectively at 0 seconds, and just giving Citizen the time that he needed to get in there, find the last man, and shut down the defense of BDS. And right now, BDS, they can't get themselves even a toehold in this game against G2, who, to be quite frank, look absolutely terrifying right now. They're doing the default things right, Des. Every time we see them come in with a push that is as we would expect, they're doing it well. I used round 1 as an example. Garage push, nothing unusual from G2. Get the wall open, get in, get the diffuser down near White Van. Did it very, very well. Round 2, something to be honest, unorthodox, coming in from the cafeteria side, did it very, very well. And that is the problem, not just for BDS, but for all the teams in this major. G2, they are finding a way to succeed regardless of how they push into sites right now. They are just relying on the ability of those players. And wow, what a performance we are seeing from them so far.
I'd love to see if this round turns into them dropping the admin take that we saw in the last round. Admittedly, not the most popular thing in Europe. Remember the comparison we drew a few times during the EUL season was if you take over yellow, it's harder initially but easier later. If you take admin, it's easier initially but harder later. We all have seen players running through Copy, all through Coffin down to the south and getting C4'd from below. It doesn't make for a pretty time, and trying to push in towards meeting, almost impossible. Admin is easy to get into, but then to actually execute from isn't always the most simple. It looks like for now, G2 are going to focus out towards admin once again, so Lightning will strike twice. They'll go to the same place rather than worrying about yellow, but BDS are holding firm. They're saying, right, Mute and Mozzie, get in there, deny all the information from them, and make them uncomfortable. Just slow them down a little bit, because there has been a little bit too much time being given over to the G2 side so far.
Big round required from LM and Renshiro here. They really need to hold G2 at bay for as long as possible. As you said, as it is generally the easier side of the map to get into. But the question is, G2, I can see a little bit of movement off the rappel there. Uno's going to just keep himself up there on the windows. But other than that, it looks like Citizens just looking to move to clear underneath. Virtue's getting himself up. And what they're trying to do at the minute is potentially just cut these defenders off. Virtue gets himself onto the copy window there. So that is now one area that BDS cannot rotate out of admin, and this could be all or nothing for BDS on the defense. They're going to either lose 2 players or those 2 players are going to fight their way out of admin. It's not going to be pretty either way, but the question is who comes out on top.
It's the danger here, because they can't just swing blindly into Copy to try and contest Renshiro while someone else comes in through the main window, because they can't get a drone in. They don't know who's hanging around where LM and Brede are right now. They don't know that if they try and repel into Copy, they're going to get shot down immediately, because they can't get past the pests. So I like how BDS have played this. They've given a problem to G2, and G2's job now is to play problem solver. Citizen's going to solve a problem for his team, though. LM going down, it's traded out immediately. This time round, BDS do strike back, and Citizen, who's had a wonderful day so far, is removed from the field.
Third round in a row that Citizen has picked up the opener onto LM. He's having a torrid time of it here on Consulate. Virtue's just holding that angle in towards the long desk now. Kanto it will be for his first kill of the map so far. Gets Rafal off the board. So that is the smoke cleared out. And 4 versus 3 now in the favour of G2. And G2, they need to turn the screw here. They need to really start increasing this pressure that is being applied to BDS. Right now, Renshiro is an important factor in this defense, and he needs to be moved out of admin so that G2, they can start getting some map control, because Shaiko, he's managed to keep himself in there. Oh, he doesn't pull the trigger on that one and nearly loses his life to the connector window. But the time is ticking by and doing its job for the defenders. And right now, you're going to see exactly why yellow stairs can be so important to this defense. Shots coming in there and just preventing that diffuser going down. Brede coming in with a huge double. We find ourselves at 2 versus 2 right now. 7 seconds to go. Diffuser cold on the ground, and Shaiko starts to do his job from yellow stairs. Shuts down Virtue 1 versus 2. Uno knows that this round is done. BDS, they hold on. They stick their claws into the cliff face there and prevent themselves slipping further down and get a round on the board.
It's interesting how it just changes over so quickly. They went from admin and said, you know what, this is too difficult. We can't execute into Copy like I mentioned. Let's try and go and play on the console window instead. The problem is, because they've taken so long, Shaiko got so comfortable on yellow stairs, and you saw how it played out. They tried to repel themselves, and he was like, look, I just got to spray the desk here, guys, and you're going to die. That's exactly how it played out for them. And with Uno being stuck on the window, playing that flank watch on the Nomad, nothing more to come from it. If maybe they'd caught Shaiko out, it would have been a little more comfortable or applied some pressure, but time was against them there. So this is why changing your attack in the middle of rounds can be very difficult. They wasted maybe a little bit too much time there in focusing on what was going on elsewhere on the map, and then finally tried to make a call with about 60 seconds to go. Sadly, 60 seconds not enough to clear an entire side of the map. At least for BDS, it gives them some kind of breathing room, though. It is something for them. And a few interesting changes coming out in this round. Renshiro going across to the Alibi, but on the other side is where I am looking. It's Citizen on the Amaru.
We've got to call a good adaptation there from BDS. You know, as you say, they recognised that the problem had come from admin and they wasted an awful lot of time by putting defensive resource into keeping hold of that area. And it was a great example from Shaiko on Yellow Stairs of just exactly why, even with an admin push, it is very dangerous to leave a man on Yellow Stairs, because if you do need that late round rotation, they will then almost certainly dominate the remainder of that round. The admin push completely focuses on getting into meetings, so then Yellow Stairs is no longer a factor in preventing that diffuser going down. If you're going to try and get into console, you have to have control over the Yellow Stairs, because we saw the angle and why it is so powerful there. Now we can see a little battle of the peaks coming out there from Shaiko, just looking to try and get himself a cheeky pick out of that Yellow Stairs window, but it will be Citizen once again, 4th round in a row. He will open things up. Renshiro will be his victim this time, and Citizen just getting himself into admin quickly, using that Amaru ability. And right now, Shaiko, he's the only man remaining on the top floor, and we know that top floor is so important. If you can get control of that for press and lobby, it is really dangerous for the defenders. But interestingly, BDS, they're trying to hold things from the garage basement floor.
Not absolutely essential to have your thermite in this round, I'd say, but still kind of important to keep as many alive as you can. I was going to say, they know that Citizen is hanging up near admin. You've got to be so mindful of those vertical angles, given how soft the floor is around the entirety of the top floor. But that one not being respected out by Alem. That puts 2 kills on the side of G2 nice and early, just from Citizen getting control of admin. It's really interesting seeing where he's playing and how he's playing with the Amaru, because very commonly on this map, I say commonly, we see a team Easy Dream do it over in the, not Easy Dream, Tempera. They keep on changing names. It kills me. Tempera Esports do it in EU when they're attacking the top floor. They'll use it to get the hatch underneath site and come up from inside a piano, spring into the site and go for a stealth plan. Here, it's not quite the site they were aiming to try and do that on, but it's still the case that it gives you that very rapid control of admin that people can't quite expect. The Citizen now finds himself in a good power position. They're now in a wonderful place to start assaulting the top floor, getting that vertical control so Pengu can plant in through the main door. But Citizen doing Citizen things, finds himself 3 kills. Pengu going to play spoiler and picking one up, and it's all down to Rafal entirely by himself. We've seen this so many times, Ace. We know how these play out. Pengu's going to plant. He's going to get himself 2v1'd in a moment, and there is nothing here for the smoke player to do except wait for his inevitable doom as the diffuser has now gone down. We'll find one. They didn't quite know where he was, it appears, but it's still a 3 versus 1. Nothing to worry about just yet, but he's got 30 seconds if he's going to do it the whole way through. The biggest issue is, just like when you're playing inside a garage, this can be so difficult to prevent the diffuse, prevent the counter, I guess, diffuse counter coming out. Everyone sits outside the map and is very happy to try and contest you. He's going to try and do it through the smoke. They should just spray onto the bomb here behind you. It's like a pantomime, and it's Pengu who steps in and gets the final kill. They're playing spoiler through the front door. Not quite the full pantomime act, I'm afraid, here, ladies and gents, but G2 get yet another round. They're 4th on the attacking half with still 1 to go.
A wonderful, wonderful move from Citizen there to clear out Brede, who was a potential problem on the Legion. He was playing in and around the basement. He was just moving himself up and down spiral stairs just to cause trouble. And we just saw a fantastic play where Citizen gets himself into the visa office, opens up the hatch, drops underneath, and obviously the information was there. We've questioned G2's drone game, information game coming into this days. It's not always been the most efficient throughout the season. We've seen them losing a lot of drones early in rounds, but there was obviously great information being fed in there. He knew exactly where Brede was playing, took the drop, moved down, just came up from underneath on that spiral staircase and absolutely destroyed the Legion. There was nothing that he could do, and it really opened the round up and allowed that diffuser to be planted on the ground, because then there was no counter to come in from the spiral stairs area. So great heads up play, not just from Citizen. He was the gun that went and did the damage, but ultimately that is team play as well, to get that information, feed it back in and formulate a plan that works. Beautiful from G2.
Oh man, BDS clearly thinking, you know what, we didn't get enough punishment down here in the first 2 rounds. G2 have gone through garage door, they've come from cafeteria. Surely there's no third attack here they can bring out here to surprise us. It's going to be one of the 2. That yet remains to be seen. Big difference coming out for G2 though is no Twitch. Pengu going onto the sledge. I don't think it's really going to come and sting them too hard, but it's something to be mindful of here, that they won't have those shock drones to deal with these jammers, to deal with the yokai drones if they can spot out where they are. And this time around, you've even got Shaiko playing on the upstairs, trying to cause some trouble. It was Bride inside a piano last time round. In fact, there's a couple of them playing upstairs, just trying to catch these early entrants from the side of G2, who it looks like are focusing on the top floor. Alem almost getting his head taken clean off from Copy, but will walk away by the skin of his teeth with just a slither of HP remaining.
All 5 entry kills so far have gone in the direction of G2, and nearly a 6th there as well. And BDS need to get themselves into that entry fight, because right now they are not playing well when on the back foot. And G2 coming in with a 5-1 start here. You know, you asked me the question, can G2 find 2 successful defenses? I've got to say that I think that they can. They only need to find one site that they can hold down at that point. You know, they can effectively lose an awful lot to BDS without still losing this map. And coming in with a 2-map win in a best of 3 to start things off in the major here, that really does put G2 on a strong foot forward.
What I will say, of course, is there are 2 halves to any game of Siege, and you don't know what BDS are going to bring out on their attacking side yet, especially when Shaiko can have a 2v1 like this and walk away with a kill. Virtue's going to find the trade back, mind you, and Citizen does Citizen things. Does it even need an introduction in these rounds anymore? Once again finds a kill in the mid-round, bringing down Alem, who's had a rough time. I swear, every single time those guys have butted heads so far, it has gone the way of Citizen, whether that's in the entry kill or just somewhere in the middle of the round.
Virtue and Citizen are just proving right now that they are the kings of Consulate. They are just running around this map, killing at will. There is nobody who can shut them down on the side of BDS. And we find ourselves 4 versus 3 with 1 minute left to go. We can see Citizen up there in the piano room, just looking to get as many of those gadgets taken out as he can, taking advantage of every single inch of destructible floor in there. And that is just piece of utility after utility being taken away. Pengu, he's going to start opening up those vertical angles as well, but he does have the diffuser in hand, so he can't remain up here for too long. The wall does get open, and right now a lot of work has been done by G2 to push towards getting this default plant spot open to them and available to get that diffuser down.
Citizen on this IQ is exactly the same story on Theme Park, remember, when he was playing below, just removing gadgets left, right, and center. It's exactly the same story here, and my God, has he been playing it well. They know that no one's in piano. This should be the safest plant of Pengu's life. It's going to go in. Citizen, a little bit over the top maybe there, and gets his head taken clean off, but it's a 3 versus 3. Diffuser is down. We spoke about this earlier on being one of those sites that is so easy to hold from the outside, and there it comes. Virtue with a kill onto the attempt to defuse coming out from Rafael. This should be all too easy for them. Bride's trying to make it happen. No one's there to capitalize on yellow stairs. I think this round is pretty much done and dusted. G2 will take the half 5-1, and Renshiro, yokai drones or no yokai drones, they're not much use to you right now. There is someone holding every single angle. There's grenades singing in alongside the bullets. G2 will close it out. 5-1 at the half. Man, BDS are going to be feeling that one in the morning.
I really felt for Renshiro there. There were just bullet tracers, grenades. There was everything raining in all around him. There was absolutely nowhere that he could turn, shut down, and it will be 5-1 at the half, as you say, to G2. And there was absolutely no retake on that one. I don't care which team you are, what you say. You had men outside holding the long angle. You had Uno up in piano using the vertical angle onto the diffuser. There was absolutely no way on earth that G2 lose that round once the diffuser had gone down. And as you said, Citizen just somewhat dramatically throwing himself into the breach there, but it certainly did the job. I think, and I don't want to, don't quote me on this, I don't know, this is definitely his thought process, but he missed his shots on the Echo drone, but he'd identified it was there. And I'm just wondering if he was basically putting himself in between the line of sight of that Echo drone and Pengu planting by just running in there. If there is a stun attempt comes in, maybe it catches him and doesn't stop that diffuser attempt from going down on the ground. And one way or another, it certainly meant that the diffuser was activated and it was a heads-up play. Great stuff from G2 in the first half.
I feel like you're damned if you do, damned if you don't against G2, right? Because they chose not to hold the top floor, chose to commit everyone downstairs and said, fine, we'll contest G2 as they try and go for the plant. That just gives all the agency in the world for Citizen to get upstairs and remove the gadgets. If you do hold upstairs so that he can't do that, they just say, fine, there's only 1 or 2 of you on site, we can hold those angles, we'll steamroll our way in, plant behind the white van, and you're left with nothing to do or to say in response. It is so tough to break them apart, and this is the G2, I've said it a couple of times, that I think everyone expected coming into SI, coming into EUL, coming into even EOC before that, and now coming into the major. This is looking like a team on fire so far. Speaking of on fire, it's a little bit more like electric. Pengu bringing along the Clash, looking to try and hold up on towards Yellow Stairs. Renshiro on the Amaru. I wonder if they are going to take inspiration from their French brothers over on Tempera and be looking to use that Amaru to get up inside of the site and go for a stealthy, cheeky plant.
I think, ultimately looking at G2 and BDS here, there's an interesting point to be made about form. It was something that I mentioned at the beginning of the show, was that G2 were on this upward curve and BDS, they had only won 2 of their final 5 matches in the EUL first stage. And sometimes it is not about sort of having the better form, it's about just when you hit form. It's something that we saw in the LATAM major as well. NIP, they struggled through the season and Team Liquid was solid throughout, but they lost the last couple of games coming into that major, and NIP just looked absolutely unstoppable, and it just can be about doing it at the right time. Ultimately, if you're going to win 3 consecutive games at any point during the season, the major's the time to do it, because that puts the title on your belt. Simple as that. And right now, it looks like that is exactly what G2 are doing. They've had a reasonably solid season. They've come through 3rd, but they have certainly excelled in the latter half. 4 wins out of 5 games, and they are carrying it forward right now.
They're looking to go for it. They've opened up the flooring in case someone tries to contest from below, I think, later on. They've got all the drone work, all the piano play coming through here, just waiting to make use of the Amaru to go up through that hatch and try and go for a plant. It'll no doubt be the best way to get around Pengu, because he's going to give them absolute chaos here on Yellow Stairs. I'm just wondering when they pull that trigger and go for it, and equally, who can dare contest them, because all these walls are reinforced. You can't spray in from Yellow Stairs, you can't really spray from anywhere, and all you need is someone like Brede holding out on window and watching someone try to come through the connect to rotate, and suddenly it could be the freest plant of your life.
I love the excitement of players like this, where you can see it building and we're just waiting.
There it is. It's gone.
It's gone up. I'm sure. I've just heard the gadget of Amaru. He's in, and down goes the diffuser. Will Pengu be able to deny? There is nothing really that he can do about this. Diffuser activated, and he's going to look to make a challenge onto the window. The question is, can one of G2 get in behind him whilst he protects them from the rappel potentially? But with a man on connector, that's going to be extremely difficult. We see the challenge come in, but Renshiro will shut down Kanto, and right now, this is going to be very, very difficult for G2 to do anything about. Pengu is shut down by Renshiro. It is all coming down to the window play as Alem gets himself one onto Virtue, and surely this is a matter of time. Flawless round for BDS.
Yes.
That is exactly the start they needed. What a wonderful Amaru play there from Renshiro, just getting himself up to get that diffuser down.
The members of Tempera just sat there like French kiss. Beautiful stuff, and taking inspiration, like I mentioned, coming out of Tempera. We saw them do it quite a few times during the regular split, and that's exactly why you use it. It requires a total rotation of the defensive setup, and you can't sit there playing scared that someone is suddenly going to spring into sight and go for a plant like that. Wonderful execution, and this is where you're going to have to see some adaptation coming out of G2. I think my biggest fear for BDS is that's only going to work once, and you can't keep on playing that same site and keep on trying to pull the same thing off. G2 are going to head downstairs. There is no use for Amaru down there, so understandably, Renshiro is going to change away onto the Zofia instead. This is where it's going to be a test of their mettle here. This is where you're going to see the real attack out of BDS on this map, and whether or not they came into today prepared to face G2 on the attacking side on Consulate, or if it's all going to crumble apart here and they'll go down to the lower bracket to face off against Rogue in the next match.
I think the problem for G2 there on that last round was not having an aggressive enough hold on Yellow Stairs. They had Pengu there with the Clash, but that just showed exactly why that can be a little bit too passive sometimes. We saw by contrast Shaiko playing out there and just really denying a plant and making it very difficult, and exactly how that can be done. And with those line of sight holes opened up in the bottom of the wall there, just allowing that view above the hatch, it would have been very difficult for Renshiro to do exactly what he did and successfully get that that diffuser down. And I think G2 maybe just need to adapt that defense to have a slightly tougher hold on yellow stairs there to allow them to challenge onto that diffuser before it can be planted. But right now, they're going to be trying somewhere else. That will be their adaptation here for round 8, will be to not go to that site once again. They've got quite a strong top floor hold here, so they're going to try to waste as much time for BDS as they can by forcing them to clear out the entire map here. But there is the chance that BDS just say, you know what, we're not too worried about that roam game. We're going to leave you out in the cold, and we're just going to get this wall open and get a diffuser down.
Interesting to choose to bring the Maverick in this case ahead of something like the Thermite, which as we've already seen can very effectively and very quickly get things opened up. So it's a bit of time to go to G2's side. For Alem, he says your time is up. Kanto removed very, very quickly and very, very comfortably. Now from outside, I think just outside of yellow stairs. Good start for them. Almost half expected to see some kind of contest coming out of G2 here. Maybe looking to get a Maverick through the hole to try and kill someone. A double jump out comes through, actually, from G2 onto the south balcony outside meeting. And Citizen's down. Can they save him, or will they try and rotate around to kill him? Oh, man, this is going to be a wonderful minigame if it comes down to it.
Uno completely unaware of Alem on yellow stairs there and will be shut down. Alem's going to move out for a third, and that is going to be a big, big start for BDS whilst attacking Garage here. And it's all down to Virtue and Pengu. And right now, 2 players that we have seen do well so far on Consulate, but this is going to be a huge ask, and it just got bigger as Alem gets himself a 4th. Could this be an ace for Alem on BDS? Virtue will shut down Shaiko, and right now that leaves him in a 1 versus 4. Shut down by Alem. Huge ace from him, exactly when his team needed it. He had a torrid time on the defense, but he shows that he is ready to fight here on the Consulate and will shut down G2 single-handedly in round number 8.
If you're spamming Pepe Laugh, Weird Champ, whatever else you want in the chat about why would you send 2 people on a jump out like that, it's because the fact a Nomad was in place. If Rafala got an air jab down on the window outside a meeting, the first one jumps out, takes the hit, the second one jumps out straight after, isn't hit, and can then contest with the gun up straight away. That's why they chose to go for it. They still ended up losing out, didn't get a single kill off the back of it. And as we saw for Alem, it was a case of playing the patience game there, waiting for some cover to try and come in to protect the injured member outside a meeting. And it's as simple as that to clean things up once you're in such a massive man advantage. Wonderful round from Alem. And I gotta say, a player that I think when he first moved over from Secret, we all saw greatness from. We were all really excited to see how he augmented this team and brought something else alongside Shaiko. And lately, a little bit quieter. The focus has been on Bride, it's been on Shaiko. Alema's kind of fallen into the backdrop a little bit and been one of the quieter members of the team. But when he steps up and when he finds a game that he is really gunning to try and do well in, you will see him give rounds like that. And although it isn't a super consistent thing that shows up for, prior to that he was only on 3 kills, it's still those kind of moments where you really want to see him step up and shine. BDS now starting to close that gap on G2.
G2, they're going to be feeling the pressure at this point as BDS close in on them, as you say, Des. And now, how do they react to it? They've had an extremely strong start on the attack, and I will stand by what I said. I think there is 2 defensive rounds to be found for G2 here, but they need to find one of them soon. They can't let BDS get into touching distance, and I honestly think that this is an extremely important round here in round 9. G2, if they can get themselves onto that match point, 6-3, mentally, they know they've got a couple of opportunities to close it out before BDS take them to overtime, but 5-4 looks very, very different at that point. It gives them very little breathing space as BDS are right behind them and breathing down their necks, ready to just tie things up at 5-all. So for me, this could be a real swing round here as to which way this map is going to go. And I, for one, am really glad to see BDS fighting the way back into this, Des. I want this excitement. I want this tension. I want to be forced right onto the edge. I want to be forced off the edge of my seat by this match.
I'll tell you what, mate, you love the edge of your seat so much, I would not be surprised to see if that is the only part of it that has become worn over all these years.
There's nothing left of it. There's absolutely nothing left. I just get...
It's just bare bones, metal structure. Like, you get a few bruises, but you know it's still worth it because you love it so much.
I just get so excited watching Siege. It doesn't matter who's playing or what the matchup is, but when there are huge games like this in a tournament like the EU Major, it just piles onto it and just adds the excitement. And Right now, we've had a slightly tentative start to round 9. It's been quite a slow one so far. A minute 30 in, we don't have a kill on the board just yet. G2 happy to hold their angles. There's not too much mobility coming out of them. Virtue, he's going to be a difficult man in here. He needs to be dislodged, and right now it looks like Shaco is going to try to aggress onto him. He's got pressure being applied from that balcony window as well, but right now Virtue hold him fast.
Can we have a look at the lobby for a second, Easy, and just see what's going on downstairs? Is the hatch open? Look at Renshiro lurking, and it's... Please tell me he's not going to try and pull this off. Please tell me he's not going to try and pull a last one from below. That would be mega, just as mega as a C4 and an opening kill come out for Virtue and Uno. So... have they really got the cover right now to enable him to go for this play where he springs up from below and goes for a plant? It would have been great if Shaiko had been kept alive and we'd seen Brede outside as well. Not quite to be the case. Alem going to find one back. It's a 4 versus 3. That smoke comes yeeting out towards him. No doubt clocks him on the forehead there. That's a nice bruise in the morning. Still trying to find this play, and it's all about the timing. 30 seconds to go, Ace.
I love that view that we got there of the smoke canister just pelting towards Alem's face there. We can see another one coming out. Renshiro will get himself a kill and 2 by hopping up the hatch. Shut down by a Pengu double though. We now find ourselves in a 2 versus 1. Alem practically no health left. Diffuser down cold on the ground. Everything's against him. He's going to take out the default cam. 6 seconds left. Shut down as G2 will get themselves onto map point and match point here in Consulate.
Oh, BDS clearly opening up the Bible here, coming out of Temper and saying, right, Amaru on Consulate, and more Amaru. Okay, Amaru only. How do we best use it? It's not just about the one plant inside a console. It's now also coming up from below in towards lobby. Unconventional, given we see most teams focus instead on the top floor, get that vertical control, and then look to plant inside the main door. But I am all for breaking open what is considered normal. Going to see it again as we go back up towards console and meeting for the second time. They won here pretty comfortably last time. A flawless round, if you recall. I wonder if G2 afford them the same comfort as they've had previously.
G2 for me need to finish this quickly, Des. They don't want to. They can't let Virtus Pro too far back. Sorry, not Virtus Pro. I was just thinking about making the same point in the Virtus Pro match. That I was concerned they hadn't closed it out quickly enough. They can't allow BDS to get themselves a foothold back in this. 6-4 is fine. No. 6-5 could be an absolute nightmare for G2. They want to get this closed out. Pengu, he's brought the clash again. My question is, how did they deal with what they faced last time? How did they do anything differently? Because they really struggled. Renshiro got into sight reasonably easily, and for me, they need to hold on to Piano with more ferocity. Yellow stairs, more ferocity. They need to prevent access to that hatch. They surely must be prepared for the possibility that Renshiro is going to try to do exactly the same. I like to see this time the line of sight that I questioned being opened up above the hatch there, just allowing yellow stairs to be used to try and deny the plant in behind the desk on that default spot. The question is, can they hold on to yellow stairs ferociously enough to allow that challenge to be made?
It's all about the setup in G2. They've got to be spotting the signs. They knew about everything getting made soft from below before previously. And yes, although that hole is open, it's about landing those critical shots. We saw Shaiko do a very similar thing. So that's what we're looking out for in this round. But we know the BDS are in no rush. It took them a good 2 minutes to get set up inside a piano last time before they finally pulled the trigger and said, it's go time, boys and girls. Let's try and get this diffuser down on the ground inside of a site on the map. However, for now, it's about the drone work. It's about finding out where G2 are. It's about identifying where the holes are and what needs to be dealt with before they can start looking for it. Alem's going to strike and say, well, we know our number one issue is Citizen. Let's look at how well he's done this map, get him off the table, and now we can start worrying more about the upstairs.
Good start for BDS there. They've struggled on the entry, particularly through the first half, but they're really getting themselves back into things. Alem, round 8 and round 10, getting himself 2 entry kills to his name. Shaco will follow up with 1 onto Virtue, leaving us now 5 versus 3, and another round that looks to be heading in the direction of BDS, at least at the moment. There is still time for G2 here but they're going to need something big. They need a player to step up and have one of those real impact moments. Now, Kanto is still on the board. He has the Echo to hand, so can make himself of use there. Pengu is going to be challenged and closed out, and that is too easy for LM there. And we can see Uno, he's trying to challenge as much as he can from the yellow stairs here, but he's forced away, and every angle is becoming a nightmare scenario for him right now. He moves back in. He's got the shotgun out. He's looking to do some damage on the close angle, but he's being challenged from the skylight there, and it just forces him back into bathroom. 56 seconds left to go. Kanto gets onto the Yokai drone. He's going to look to reposition, and he's going to need to, because right now BDS, they are planting. Renshiro looking to get things down. He's going to start that process once again, but I think this one sticks for BDS.
Livo is hiding it behind the bomb as well, rather than sticking it up on the ceiling, making it very hard for them to be able to deal with this. He's in a wonderful spot, gets a double one coming out of this, and a kill comes through for Uno. He's got to be so wary of Bride hanging upside down on the rappel, mind you. As soon as he peeks in, he must know they almost managed to contest. Just about half a second too late there. Not that it would have mattered, because BDS still find the 2 kills they need. It's 6-4 ace. Are BDS bringing this back? They were down 5-1 at the half.
If previous fixtures that you and I have cast together, Des, are anything to go by, then this is obviously going all the way to 15 rounds in a third map, because we just have a habit of doing it. But right now, I still think, I'm going to stand by what I said, I still think that there is a second defense here for G2. I think that they can find the room that they need, but BDS are certainly not making this easy for them. And boy, are they serving up an entertaining matchup for us to watch here. We're going to be heading down to Garage once again, and BDS attacked this very well last time around. Now, that last round was really interesting. Renshiro showing good persistence there to get that diffuser down. He didn't mind getting stunned out by the Yokai drones, because he knew eventually he was going to win on the battle of the cooldowns, whereby the Yokai couldn't keep blasting him. And that's exactly what happened. And he knew that he had the cover in place, exactly what was needed to prevent Uno pushing into the site to make a challenge onto him. And it was really well played by BDS.
Downstairs we go for round number 11. It's feeling close. That map 3, that cafe is starting to loom over us. And back at the very start, I think the analyst sat there and said this feels like a big BDS draft win. And I would have agreed, seeing how things shaped up for them. Theme Park being the great unknown, Consulate leaning towards BDS, and Cafe most definitely going their way. Would be enough, I think, to scare any G2 fan and think, oh God, what have we just walked ourselves into? But with how the last 2 maps have gone, I think it is very fair to say that G2 look like they are on a bit of a different level so far today. BDS very close to catching up though. 2 more rounds, we see that overtime. They can't win outright, of course, let's not forget. So it will have to go into overtime. And like you say, Ace, that almost feels like something we are destined for. It's a bit of a caster curse that we have in the UK. It's being carried across the games in Europe as well.
We take it around the world with us, Des. Wherever we cast, whenever we cast, we always seem to have these absolute nail-biters. If you see us on the lineup, it's always worth a watch, because there's going to be a lot of tension and a lot of late-game excitement. And right now we can see...
I mean, you might also want to watch for us as well, right? Not just
obviously,
the fact that it goes to
it's
overtime.
not just the
I promise we'll try and make it fun.
Now we can see early aggression being applied to that garage wall once again, and we can see it's the Maverick that is going to be doing the work. Bride looking to get in there, and again, Des, you have to question the potential of not bringing that thermite, and it does slow things down. If we see a late round push faltering and failing here, it is something that we will have to come back and question as to whether this could be a part of it, because right now it's going to take them nearly half of the round to get this wall open, and with no denial having been placed on there, the thermite could have done this a minute ago.
That's what I'm thinking. We said it in the last round as well, that you're bringing the Maverick along when a team isn't really looking to contest you. You haven't seen a Kai being brought along. You haven't seen a Bandit. So why is there so much fear that this is going to be a thing, that you have to waste another, potentially minute? They've only just got it open. Compare that to G2, who had this wall open inside 30 seconds. It's taken 90 seconds on the side of BDS. And although you're saying, sure, there's 90 seconds left, the wall's open, so who really cares? Seconds are critical. We've seen the number of times it comes down to an execute, and even in that last round, another second or two before the diffuser goes down, that could have been a different outcome. And it feels the same between these 2 teams. They've now opened up their little runway straight through if they want to get themselves behind the white van. The wall still isn't fully open, mind you. So I'm slightly worried again that we're now 2 minutes in and we're still not seeing a clean and straight path to run through for a plan.
Well, that was the other thing I was going to mention, Des. You've hit it before I did. Look at the opening that they've gained. It seemed to be a grenade hole in the wall. It's not clean. It's, you know, you're fraught with danger there. Kanto shutting down Shaiko to open things up, and this is not a good start for BDS. They don't have a clean path into sight. They've now got it wider open, but they've wasted a lot of time with only 38 seconds left to go. Brede is going to look to get that diffuser on the ground. There is no echo this time, but out comes the Nitro, and that pushes him back out of sight once again. Virtue pushing forward from Pipes there. He's getting
Virtue.
seriously aggressive. Kanto it will be
what?
to get the kill onto Shiro. Citizen onto Brede. And right now, this is all going in the favour of G2. This is the moment. This is the point in time where they take BDS out of the EU major upper bracket and send them down to a meeting with Rogue in the lower bracket. Surely, Rafal gets one. Can he get two more? He's going to have to. Shots rain into the Mozzie. Uno it is who will take damage, and we can see now with the clock ticking down, Rafal has no choice but to try and get that diffuser down. Shut down by Uno, and G2, they win in two, and they go through to that upper bracket matchup with Virtus Pro.
Whoa, Virtue with the hero playing that final round, springing forward into action from Pipes, getting himself down behind Black Car and saying, you know what, no, you aren't allowed inside the building. I'm contesting this doorway. How dare you step foot into our domain? Wonderful stuff out of G2, showing some much needed aggression to close this game out. And you were absolutely right. It felt like we were starting to see the game creep back in for BDS, but they will be relegated down to that lower bracket for that matchup against Rogue. What a series that sounds like in its own right. When they last played on Oregon, it was an absolute screamer. It could